All right, we are now less than 2 hours away from a cabinet shuffle, filling the vacancy left by former Veterans Affairs Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould after stunning accusations of political interference on the part of the Prime Minister's office, with calls now for the RCMP to investigate. We wanted to take a closer look at the possible legal implications. Joining us this morning from Ottawa is constitutional law expert Errol Mendez. Good morning to you.
You too, Anne-Marie.
Well, let's take these calls. Let's start here with the calls for an investigation by the RCMP. First of all, this is the Prime Minister's response.
No, to our knowledge, no one has been contacted by the RCMP. This is something that we have confidence in the processes in place. The Justice Committee.
So Andrew Scheer has said that he sent a letter to the RCMP formally asking for an investigation. RCMP has confirmed they received it. They're reviewing it. What would the RCMP be looking for if they investigate, and what would that mean for the government?
Well, first of all, Anne-Marie, I'm not even sure that it is the RCMP will be investigating in great detail. Essentially, what they will do is look at what the evidence is so far to see whether or not there's any indication whatsoever there could be what Andrew Scheer and others have called obstruction of justice. For that, you need not just what they claim are the actions which result in what they claim is obstruction of justice, but intent. And in the case of the criminal code provisions, willful intent. So that's a long shot. So I'm not even sure that they will actually go ahead and do major investigations other than just looking at what the evidence is right now.
Well, let's take a look at the investigation by the Federal Ethics Commissioner now. Here's what the Prime Minister has to say about that.
The Ethics Commissioner is an agent of Parliament whose job it is to determine what is exactly happening when there are disagreements amongst elected officials or political parties. And I have full confidence in that process. But
Speaking of process, it gets a little processy, a lot of terminology there for people to follow. But what would the potential consequences of what the Ethics Commissioner could possibly find?
Well, the Ethics Commissioner has a somewhat limited mandate. Under his mandate, his statute, which gives him the mandate, he is focused only on conflicts of interest where there is a private interest involved. And as you know, the opposition is saying, especially the NDP, that this goes much further than a conflict of interest. It basically deals with an entire company who is trying to promote itself and make sure that it doesn't lose its economic position, which is different from a private interest. So that's where there is a call for something more than just the ethics officer. There is calls, for example, I myself have said there is a call for an independent body of jurists or something to see who's right and who's wrong in terms of the limits to which one can interfere with the Attorney General, for example.
I want to bring this up from question period. Opposition leader Andrew Scheer called again for the Prime Minister to resign. This is what happened.
The Prime Minister simply cannot continue to govern now that Canadians know what he did. He must resign. When will he do so?
Now, in the U.S., we know a president can be impeached. What is the equivalent here in Canada, and can a Prime Minister be fired?
Well, in our country, no one is above the law. And basically, unless one can argue that the Prime Minister has committed a crime and actually has to go to trial and get convicted, no, the only way one gets rid of a Prime Minister is at an election time. So I think the comparisons with the United States is a little bit far-fetched.
Errol Mendez, good to talk to you. Thanks for helping clear some of that up for us this morning.
You're very welcome.